Hello everyone, and welcome back. Melissa just made breakfast for lunch a little bit ago, and I actually didn't film anything yesterday. I was finishing up this short little tent video, and then I didn't film anything this morning. I've just been putting in more fence posts going behind there, and then I ran the tractor in over here and kind of made a trail where I'm going to run the fence over there for the pasture. And there used to be a fence line there years ago, and now this spotted alder is it? I think, yeah. There's a bunch of it in there. I mean, there's no way you could run a fence there right now, so I'm going to go in there with a chainsaw for just a little bit here and see how hard it is. I don't think it's going to be too bad to get that cleared up, so I can use their fence line area, kind of. I'm going to cut up to that new part that we planted before I get to our little blueberry patch back there, so that the cows don't ruin that. But I'm just trying to get one big area around here, and then I can split it off wherever I want to. But the thing is, we've got rain coming. I mean, you know, for last year they're telling us that this is it. This is how it's going to be from now on with these hot, dry summers. Well, we have had record amount, you know, not a record amount, but way over the amount of rain we usually have. And now in the next, my 10-day weather outlook, we're supposed to get between 5 and 6 inches of rain, and it starts this afternoon. So I thought I better get out and play around with this a little bit now, just to see how it's going to work, or I'm going to have cows here and never going to have a chance to get out there because everything was so wet. So I'll have to move my tan truck here, but I'm going to come off that back corner of the workshop building and then just come straight across here. And you can see where I took the tractor and pushed in right there. And right in here, I'm going to put a 16-foot wide gate, because when I get wood hauled in, the semi comes right down here and through and dumps it off back there, and he can still dump it in the pasture. So I'm going to come in here, go straight in, and then I'm going to angle over, and you can see right in there where that fence post is. Then it goes straight through all that crap there. So I'm going to get in there and try to trim some of it up and see how easy that'll be. Because then, you know, once the cows get in here, they'll clean all this mess up eventually. So I've got this post here, and you can see the next post is right there. So it's this stuff here I need to get cut out of here. The posts are too far apart. I want them at 12 feet. I think they have them at like 16 or 20. So I'll have to pull them and re-put them in, but just try to follow the same line. Well, as you can see, they didn't have these posts going in any straight line or anything, so that made it a little easier for cutting. I was trying to follow them, and then I looked back and it was like, wait a minute, I can make it a lot straighter than that. I was really hoping I could just take the tractor and push this all the way through. But if you look right here, tire starts sinking in. When I was removing that last fence post, you could hear it was wet at the bottom. So if I sink through that, then my whole front end goes down, and I can get out with the bucket by pushing it up and using the hydraulics to pull me back, but still, I could get really buried back here if I wasn't careful. So I'm probably going to have to do all this by hand, moving the brush, and then, which isn't a big deal. I went all the way through here, and then this is how we're going to do it. I'm trying to make it wide enough though. We'll see. I'd like to be able to drive the buggy around, but I'd like to do it on the outside of the fence so that we can check the fence without going into the pasture every time opening up the gate. And there's blueberries up here, so, and I mean, all these posts will get moved. There's a lot of brush right here. 2 years ago when that snow came, it really pushed everything over. So if I come through here, and here, we're at the end of my maple pile of logs. So if I shoot through right here, because it looks pretty wet down in there. So if I come up over here, and just cut through here, so then there's the wood pile. If I just come up through here, I can almost use those posts or that same area. Come up through here, and then tie in over here. I think I'm gonna go that way more. Our property goes quite a ways that way. But I need to be around our blueberry patch, which is right here. And the back field here is starting to get a green hue to it. I don't know how it's gonna hold up 5 or 6 inches of rain in the next 8 or 10 days, but it is coming up anyway. When I was coming through here with the tractor, I see I have a couple of rolls. There's one there. Where did I pull that from? There was like a board sitting here, right here. Another roll of electric wire. Don't know if I'll be able to use it, but be good for something. Well, the nice weather party is over. Right now it's misting out, and when I look at the radar, it's all green below us, and it's coming up. Good morning, everybody. So last night we got maybe 1/3 of an inch of rain. It was 47 degrees it got down to. Today it's saying it's going to get up to 80. There's even a chance at like 2 hours of sun this afternoon before more rain comes in. And then it's pretty rainy this week, like I've talked about. So I was just out there weeding the garden. It's not a prime time because the soil is wet and it's gonna rain. But if that sun comes out and this breeze sticks up, it'll kill off some of them that I'm exposing the roots on and keep me ahead of the game. Melissa's in there making homemade sourdough pizzas, and she was just out here and said they're just about done. All those pizzas were really good, and now Melissa wants to make a peach rhubarb crisp. I want rhubarb crisp, and she said she wanted to try making a peach rhubarb. So I'm picking her some rhubarb. We've got a lot of it. This back field gets a little bit greener every day. Yesterday I put up these cattle panels just for now until we get the plastic over this. It'll keep the honest deer out. They'd have to jump over it to get in there. Corn is supposed to be knee-high by the 4th of July to make it. Don't really have to worry about that since this is only 63 or 65 day corn, but it's grown at least an inch today. It was just raining. After lunch it rained for a little bit, so now it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I see some of the wheat berries are popping up. You don't need to cover these with soil. It's better if it would have like 1/4 inch of soil over it, but as long as they're in good contact with the ground, they'll seed and sprout. All the raspberries are starting to flower. Man, the mosquitoes. Just read a thing online that said parts of Minnesota are going to get 6 to 8 inches of rain this week. Wettest spring since 2014. It's the following day. Yesterday, after lunch and everything, we just did, Melissa made that rhubarb peach crisp or whatever it's called. That was super good. And then we just did a cleanup in the house. And then now, this morning, you know, we've got all this rain coming, and I have the 2 sump pumps in here. One of them was, this one here is a real expensive big pump. It was the only one I could get at the time. And this one here was the one that was in there. And if you guys remember, last year this one burned out. So we're upstairs and all of a sudden even the dogs barked because it was a different sound. Because this one comes out this pipe, this one did, And when I put in that one, just as a backup, because if you don't have that pump going in the spring, if there was a lot of snow or like this year, a lot of rain, it doesn't take long at all for this to flood. It'll just start coming up. So that one was going up, this one was up, but I've never replaced this one because that's a brand new pump. And for as much money as it costs, it better work forever. But anyway, I worry that what happens if something were to get clogged up in there or something did happen, I don't have a second pump down here. There it goes right now. And now we're supposed to get anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of rain over the next 7-8 days, whatever it is. And this one sits down a little bit farther than that one. That's how I set it up. So that, you know, if this one fails, that one would go off, but it's not going to go off every time. It would just sit there idle. So anyway, I got this one. It was the closest thing I could get to this one here. And I'm just wondering if that pipe is going to be long enough, because there is a difference here of about 1 inch. I could put a different pipe in there. But anyway, I just went and picked it up at L&M. I want to get this put in and then switch this one back to being the primary pump and that one being the backup pump. Just simply because it sucks it down lower so that water isn't as close to the bottom of the floor, which is about 12 inches right now. Yeah, I should be able to make that work. It's funny, in the summertime this will be bone dry. And in the wintertime, you know, once it's dried out. But much quieter, definitely a slower pump. I think this one did 3,700 gallons an hour. That water really is coming in much slower than it was. It was going off like every single minute for a while, which it will again after this afternoon when it starts raining. There's like 100% chance of 1.25 inches tonight and another inch and something tomorrow. But the nice thing is this pump is so quiet you don't hear it. So when I do start hearing the pump, when the second one goes off, I know something's wrong with the first one. I'm going to see how much time between when it goes off, because like I said, it was a minute or less before. I think that was the fastest that we've had it do that. But there's also, with the old pump, the way I've got so much line to get outside and the way it's set up, you get a lot of, not a lot, but more water coming back in because I don't have a check valve on it. So right now we're about 4.5 minutes between cycles when it pumps it out. See what it's like in a couple of days. One more thing off my list of stuff that needed to be done. You got to have that plastic pipe tight to the house because that metal one coming out, you got to figure the house was built in 42. I don't think that that pipe is 81 years old. I think they've redone it because you can see different cement here, but still it's an old pipe for that metal to be rusting out like that. It needs to be totally replaced probably, but I would need to beat a hole through the cement, and for right now this is working just fine. Taco hot dish is done. Well, for today, supposing to have over an inch of rain, we got 1/10 of an inch so far. Nice night. It wasn't a bad day. The mosquitoes were absolutely horrible when I was out mowing. Just made taco hot dish and stuff. Got a fan going behind me because there's so many mosquitoes. I don't know if you can see them everywhere. And it's hard to keep them from going in the house, but if I keep a fan going against the door here, they're not strong enough to get in. Tomorrow and the next day, I think both days, I have a lot of stuff to do outside the house, so I'll film when I can. Oh, I left this morning about 6 o'clock. Got home tonight about 5, a little after 5. And parts of Minnesota just north of here, some places have gotten over 7 inches of rain today. The tent area being an area that has got a significant amount of rain. Up where Jeff Ryan, you hear me talk about him, he's up in one of the areas that got a lot of rain. His yard looks like a lake in some places. He just posted it online. And we're gonna get some rain tonight when it finally gets here, but that line was kind of a train of red that just kept going over and over the same area. And we have at least got out of that part. I don't need any more rain here, and we're gonna get more. It's still showing 2 inches on my phone for tonight, and we got more coming in 2 days. When I left Superior, Wisconsin, around a little after 4:30, it was 56 degrees. When I got back to the house here, which is a 35-minute drive, it was 78. Down by Lake Superior, it's that much colder. It's rained almost a ½ inch in the last 15 minutes. That poor garden and back field. I've never seen this much water in the yard since we moved in. Lightning is constant, the rain is constant. 2.5 inches since midnight last night. Almost 2 inches since this started just I don't know, 2.5 hours ago. Good morning, everybody. A couple of minutes before 6. I don't know what I'll have to look when I get home. I'm just leaving now, but it was, over 2 inches. But I don't think the garden's going to be a total loss. Looks like the puddle has went down. See, we have a puddle in the front yard over there. This morning I'm driving to Superior, Wisconsin. Then from Superior, Wisconsin, I have to drive all the way up to Virginia, Minnesota, and stop off in Eveleth, Minnesota. And there was a lot of flooding up there. This morning it was, I don't know if it was 4:30 in the morning. My phone starts going off and I got some flood alerts from up by the area of the tent. Not by the tent, but in that same county. And up north they got a lot of rain. I don't know if we'll see anything on the ride up, but we're going right up to where the thick of it was. I decided to drive my black truck today. I did yesterday too. Might as well put some miles on this one. I was out about 5 o'clock this morning and fed the little chicks and had some things to do, and the mosquitoes back there, I just had got out of the shower, so there's like no bugs. I smell good, and the mosquitoes seem to love that. They were so thick, it was like, I watched a little bit of the news this morning, and they showed up in Hibbing, Minnesota, which we're going to Virginia. A lot of times I go to Hibbing. So, I mean, they're in the same plane, north and south pretty much. Hibbing's just a tiny bit south of Virginia, but anyway, it reminded me of watching stuff from Louisiana when it would flood, because the O'Reilly's Auto Parts store parking lot, there was a guy, and I don't know if it was standing up in a kayak or what it was, and he was poling himself along in the water through the parking lot. So they really got dumped on up there. Back in Minnesota, heading north. Actually, we're west right now, but it's going to be going north. And as we get farther up there, I expect to start seeing some really high rivers and some flooded ditches. There's a road that's a little bit underwater. just going through the little town of Cott, and they said that there had law enforcement confirmed a small tornado on the ground somewhere here yesterday. It was only for a short time, but it must not have been right here on the main drag because I don't see any trees down or anything. Coming into Eveleth, Minnesota, and you can see that they had the roads blocked off here last night. Wow, like that is never. Oh, that whole bridge is, wow, it's like a walking bridge. That whole place is flooded, that whole park. I was starting to think I wasn't going to see anything because, I mean, there's water in the ditches and stuff, but it didn't seem all that bad. Looks like they had some wind here. Tree uprooted. Now I just have about 5 miles to Virginia. I thought this construction spot here might be a mess, but it's not. I mean, there's mud and water, but not as much as I thought there would be. Well, I'm just trying to get this chicken coop cleaned out. Should have been done earlier this spring, but it's been so wet and I've had so much stuff going on, but I want to get it cleaned out, get fresh hay put in there, and put all those other chicks in there one of these next couple of nights, because you put them in at night, shut off all the lights because all the other chickens are roosting, and then in the morning it's still brutal, but you know, it's a little bit easier. Both myself and Melissa have found that's probably the best way to do it. But now George, he went up to his cabin, which is on the tent lake. On the other side, the lake is up 2 feet because of the rain yesterday. They got somewhere between like around 6 inches, between 3 and 6 inches, depending on where you're at, from the people that George knows that has the rain gauges. So that means if it comes up 2 feet and the water was right under the dock, like you could step on the dock on the one low spot and the water would just kind of come up on the board. That means it would be almost 2 feet over the dock. That makes me wonder if I had the boat tied to the well, even if I didn't have it tied, I have the plug out, so it would have just slowly filled with water. I don't know that 2 feet would get it up over the motor. Never seen it that high before, you know, but it has to go out the... Have you guys ever seen me in the videos where I go over the wooden bridge? There's several of those wooden bridges up there for ski trails. And George sent me pictures of one of them that the water is going so fast, and that's the river that leaves the tent lake, that it wiped it out. So now I'm debating if I should jump in my truck tomorrow morning and run up there and just check things out. My dad's going up Friday. He was going to go Monday, but now he's going to go Friday. I might have to run up there and check and see that. That's just, I've never seen the water that high. I mean, that would be, yeah, up the bank somewhat from the lake. I'm sure it's draining down fast going out that river, but yeah, it's always something this spring with the water. I tell you this, I hate this job. And I'm sure that the neighbors for, I don't know, half a mile away can smell it. Nothing worse than doing a chicken coop. Good compost though. It will be. Nice clean chicken coop now. Still stinks like a chicken coop. Definitely the worst job. I hated it when I was a kid doing it. Love raising chickens, but they stink when it comes time to clean the coop. Could do it more often, which I do in the summertime, but in the wintertime everything's pretty frozen. Last thing I want to be doing out here is scraping this, and then where do I put it? Can't drive back to the compost pile. Well, I could have last winter, but most winters I have to plow all that. Those ducks, they aren't too happy because they're all females, and I have no male. I'm actually hoping with those new ducks I do have a male in there, and so they lay their eggs because they're Muscovies. Never knew a bird ever that is that broody. They will literally sit on those eggs. They've been doing it for, I mean, 2 of them will sit on them at the same time, and for just months and months and months, and they're not fertilized. So, and if you miss a day of picking eggs, which I do if I go up north or something, well, you can't really use them because you don't know what those eggs are going to be like after being sat on. So, they're little spots that have nests. I dug them all out, so they're mad out there. I could hear them peeping away at me. They're going to come back in here and there's going to be no more eggs. And I think Muscovy ducks taste really good too, so, and those new ones that we got kind of look like a mallard, but not really. If I have a male there, and they could easily crossbreed, and then they could hatch them, they're really good moms. I had them hatch, so actually the ones that I have right here are ones that a mom that I had years ago hatched. those ducks I have now are probably 8 years old. At least that. And if you guys have been subscribers long enough, you remember when I put this in and made it so I can lift it up and tie it. That's why this wire's here, so that I can get underneath that roost, because that's where you get the biggest concentration of chicken crap, because they sit there all winter and that's all they do there and around the water. So yeah, and it really, I remember having them before where it was fixed and you're trying to clean behind it and you're so frustrated because you get a scoop and you come up and you hit it and it falls off and you're already ticked off because you're doing chicken crap. I'm glad I did it that way. So when it comes time to clean, I just get the crap out of the front of it, lift it up to the ceiling, tie it up, and get right underneath there. And I also have that piece of slab wood there, which it's nailed in tight enough so I just slide it to the left and it stays open, but otherwise the chickens are going to be constantly coming in here when you're cleaning, trying to see what's going on. Made a mess of my day, really. Probably burn them out anyway with all that chicken crap, but oh well. They'll come back. They actually need to be cut back anyway. I didn't want them to grow in. I wanted it like this, and now it grows all the way in. You demanding that I open up that door? Can you guys see the spurs on his legs down there? They're at least 2.5 inches long, both of them. Get out. Get out. Out. Come on. Get out. Get out. He has these girls in here sleeping or roosting by 6 o'clock in the afternoon. It's probably, I don't know, 6:30, 6:45 now. So he probably doesn't know what's going on. I mean, it stays light forever, and he's got them in here early all the time. And then, the worst part is, you know how I said those Muscovy ducks are real good, real broody? I haven't had one broody hen. I haven't seen that black hen today. She must be outside somewhere. But I've never seen him get on one of these hens before, ever. I don't think he likes girls. And I even put a couple chicken eggs underneath one of the Muscovies, and I don't know if they kicked them out or not, you know, or if they sat on them, but never got any chicks, so I have never, ever seen him. And I mean, I've had chickens for a long time, and I mean, they're not shy about that. These here are fake eggs. You can use fake eggs or golf balls, since I find so many golf balls around here. And that tells the chickens that's where you lay the eggs, and it also helps keep them from eating eggs, because if they pick on it, they can't get through that one, so they'll get frustrated. I've been having a little problem lately with these guys eating some of their eggs. But throwing these new chickens in there is going to throw a wrench into everything that they know. They're not going to be happy about that at all. seem to like to do it most in this one, so I'm going to put 3 in there. And I got 4 eggs today, so they really don't lay in the bottom ones hardly ever. I had a chicken for a while that was always laying in that corner bottom one, but not anymore. I've also lost a couple chickens in the last year, but this flock is a very old flock, except for a couple that we added, was it last year or the year before last? And I think one of those I lost. So, yeah, leave it just like, I think I'll take one out of here and put it over in this one. Somebody's going to ask about this. This thing used to be a sauna years ago. So this is like a cement lined stove. And it's always just been easier for me to leave it here because I don't know how to get it out of here. You probably have to have 4 guys to get it out. I have to get a different waterer in here too. Usually I just have, we have 3 big buckets because the chickens can jump up on top of there. And then the smaller ones the ducks can get into. Actually, I think I have a waterer from Louisiana. Because with the baby chicks, you know, the big chickens are smart enough so that if it's halfway down in there, they hold on tight. But the smaller chicks, there's just one. Whichever breed that is smaller, and I don't want her to fall in there. But I'm going to go look in the garage right now because I have another waterer, I remember that. This one right here, that's probably a 2-gallon at least. I've never used this kind. It must just snap down in there, and then, yeah, when the water gets up so high, it stops. I don't know what's that's there for. It's completely sealed. Figured out what this little thing was for. If you don't put it on here, the water will just run out the bottom. I'm going to need to put that up on a block, I think. I'll watch and see what happens, but sometimes it gets dirty real fast if you don't lift that up like 1.5 inches. The rooster's probably freaking out because none of his girls are in here sleeping. He's ready for bed. Well, I don't know if I'm going to put those baby chicks in later tonight or if I'll wait till tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. I'll ask Melissa. If I leave tomorrow to go to the tent, what if I spend the night? I'm just not sure. I need to check on these little ones because if one of them, they're going to get beat up, you know, and if one of them starts to bleed at all, they'll attack it until it's gone. So you have to watch them real close at first. That one black chicken, that's one that I think that one came from Louisiana, or we hatched it from Louisiana. Anyway, we had two of them, and one of them died this winter, and it was limping and stuff beforehand. I mean, that's an old bird. I mean, this is almost 6 years here, so it's 8 years old anyway, retired, and I saw that this one limps once in a while now too, and then I'll find it sitting on the corner underneath the roost versus getting on top of the roost. But I only have one. I don't even know if any of the older ones lay anymore. Once in a while we'll get a light colored egg versus the brown. And it always has a thin shell. Like that one right there that's closest to us, that's one of the newer ones. They're kind of molting right now, but I've got 3 of them, so we get 3 eggs a day, usually, and then I'll get a 4th once in a while. All the other ones are retired, just living out their life. That's why we got more chickens. We needed more layers. See if she tries to get up there again. See, she can't do it. She's an old girl. Waiting for my driver. The mosquitoes aren't too bad right now, so we want to run around and look at the fruit. That storm really wiped out the honeyberries. And but she's getting the dogs. I would have went in and got them, but I can feel manure piled up underneath my tennis shoes, so it's like I'm not going in there yet. The wheat berries are coming up good. This was water this morning, or was that yesterday morning? I don't know. Gonna have to do a drive-by on these. It's in the shade and it's cooler here. They look good. They look good. Look how they're all getting those flowers.
Yeah. First year flowers.
Yeah. Well, it's the next day. Just coming down out of the woods from being at the tent and checking everything out and see if anything was flooded. And now I need to find something to eat. I'm hungry. I was going to stop at Judy's Cafe and get a burger, and when I drove by there, they're absolutely packed. Well, Grandma's Marathon is this weekend coming up here. I mean, there's 20,000 people just that run the race, not to mention all the people that come to see it. So I'm going to go to Quick Trip and see if I can get something to eat. There must have been 50 people in that store. I just got some fried chicken and some potato wedges and a milk. Okay, everyone. Well, thanks a lot for watching. I'm going to end this one right now and start the next one in a couple hours when I take those baby chicks, well, they're not babies anymore, and put them into the coop. I will see you guys on the next video.